2012, an era dominated by technology, a decade where Go Green mantras were chanted all over. As scientists and researchers stacked their findings over mankind, there was still one place in the northern part of a metropolitan city which was only heaped by tons of unsegregated garbage: Kodungayur. So many new technologies pouring in every single day. But what makes this an untacklable problem? Mysteries unravel as notable environmentalist Mr. Nityanand Jayaraman explained the politics of waste.
The problem often is not solely an engineering or a technological problem. If a problem has only a technological dimension, then it can be addressed through technology. But if a problem has social and political dimensions, then those dimensions need to come in as well. So a perfectly, a perfect technology that works perfectly fine in Germany might not work in India because the social and political conditions over here are different. So the technology is always located within a context. If you look at things like the fruit waste and vegetable waste in Kotwal Chavadi or in Coimbatore, we don't need technology to degrade it, because degradation happens without the aid of human hands. So what needs to be done is to figure out what the conditions that are conducive for its own degradation are. In failing which, given that you're sitting in a city where there's a massive concentration of these kinds of waste in a small amount of space, then we might be looking at engineering or technological interventions to do what nature anyway does. Where is this point of treatment located? How far is it from the point of generation? Because the further you take it away, the less sensible it is, the more inefficient it is, the more greenhouse gases you generate, the more environmental problems you generate, the less responsibility there is for the generator. So ideally in discard management, it is good to keep the discards and treat it as close to the point of generation as possible. The importance of asking right questions. In our entire educational system and society in general, questioning is considered to be a deviant behavior. People who question are seen as troublemakers. I think that if that culture persists, you're not going to be arriving at the right answers. That is why you find so many different answers that are being given to you. Make roads out of plastic, shoot the plastics to space, make gasoline out of plastics. But none of these things work because the question that is being asked is wrong. So how does one train oneself to ask the right questions? I think that these kinds of awareness, where you are being re-equipped with the tools of analysis, the tools of asking the right questions, would be far more important than banal statements that say plastic is bad, carry a shopping bag. I mean, nothing could get more banal than that, because people actually go around believing that if they change from carry bags to a cloth bag, they will save the world. They will not, because often what we're left with is this whole proposition of there is no alternative. So in the absence of an alternative, a bad thing becomes good. That is not acceptable. You can't ask me whether I would like to get mugged or killed. It is a bad choice. I would like to neither get mugged nor killed. So then the question is, how do I ensure that I can have a life where I neither get mugged nor killed? If you take the issue of garbage, the question that is constantly being asked even by high court judges, where do we dump the garbage? If not Kodungayur, where do you dump the garbage? Well, dump it on your head. That's as good an answer as saying dump it on somebody else's head. So if you ask the question, where do we dump the garbage, the answer can only be a geographical location. And where the dumping happens depending upon how much we value that particular place and how much we value that particular people. Engineers have wanted to ask us, how do we make this garbage disappear? So they come up with, they only have three techniques: dig a hole in the ground, burn it, or move it somewhere. Beyond modifications of these three techniques, more than 60 years of modern engineering has taught them nothing. You bring up incinerators, pyrolysis, you bring up waste to energy plants. These are all different forms of combustion. You bring up holes in the ground, sanitary landfills, land races, all variations of digging as a solution. Shoot it to moon, send it to South Africa, send it to Bangladesh, send it to Kodungayur, all variations of moving garbage from one place to another. When degradable, see that the main problem for urban settings is not plastic. The main problem is organic waste. Because organic waste is the one that can be most easily handled and can be the most problematic if it is not properly handled. Organic waste in the absence of oxygen tends to rot. When it rots, it generates something like a garbage juice, a black colored thick liquid, viscous liquid, which is highly acidic in nature. The pH can be in 1.5 or 2. And being acidic, and given the fact that you've dumped all your waste together, the acids tend to leach out the poisons in the matrices of various material that's around it. So from a typical household, you're likely to get your Baygon spray bottle, you're likely to get your tube light or your compact fluorescent lamp, which contains mercury. The Baygon spray contains pesticide. You might have your phenyls or other solvent that again has chemicals in it. So these things, as long as they're sitting inside the bottle, don't harm the environment. Similarly, the plastic itself is not just hydrocarbons. It also has phthalates and plasticizers. It has heavy metals for pigments or stabilizers. It has a whole range of other chemicals that have been pumped into the matrix of the plastic in order to make it usable in the forms that we tend to use it. By itself, the plastic may not pose a problem. But if there is something that causes the chemicals inside the plastic to come out, then it can cause a problem. Acid leachates tend to do that. Burning tends to do that. By even burning is again a chemical process where new products of combustion are generated and released into the air. Acid leachates acting upon material and leaching out the poisons then makes acid leachates are heavier than water, so tend to go down, contaminate the groundwater table, or tend to again get mobilized when you burn it.
Outraged by the apathy, concerned by the pathetic situation, we decided to go in search of the roots. As we brushed ourselves with startling realities, we decided to take the plunge.
Team Casper reporting directly from Ground Zero at Kodungayur dumpyard. At my backdrop is the Kodungayur dumpyard.
There are huge JCB cranes working endlessly in compressing the garbage so that the area can accommodate more litter in the future. As you can see, there are a lot of birds buzzing in this area. Some of the chemicals can lead to shell thinning in the birds, and most adversely affected are the black eagles. Some studies have shown that there is feminization of male birds. We now focus on the open trucks coming in to spill the refuse all over the path it has travelled. Now being the onset of northeast monsoons dampens the garbage, giving a smell that is nasty, unpleasant and overbearing. This attracts pests leading to vector-borne diseases.
The other pathetic side is that you can see so many rag pickers digging from garbage to strike their gold without even possessing any kind of safety apparatus. This shows how pollutants move through various trophic levels in an ecosystem, leading to bioaccumulation and biomagnification. We are atop a building which is a few yards from the area because we are not permitted access. The reasons may be due to agitations that could sprawl up in the neighborhood. These are the residential buildings that are right here, 100 meters away from the dump yard. This dump yard is 970 acres. This was allocated for educational institutions and medical centers. Is this how we impart education? Can you imagine keeping a stale food at your house for a week? These people are being dumped with it every other day. The situation experienced here is far more than imagination.
We decided to take this issue to the policymakers. Touchwood, this time around we weren't in for a blame game. This itself gave a huge sigh of relief to the whole team. Then what more? They supported our project, giving us the huge responsibility of answering a region's cry.
Project Casper என்ற அந்த ப்ராஜெக்டை நடத்தக்கூடிய இளம் மாணவர்கள் இளைஞர்கள் மிகச்சிறப்பாக இந்த பணியை செய்து கொண்டிருக்கிறார்கள். இதை நான் பாராட்டுகிறேன். அவர்களுக்கு எல்லா விதமான ஒத்துழைப்பையும் எல்லோரும் தர வேண்டும் என்று நான் கேட்டுக்கொள்கிறேன். நானும் இந்த ப்ராஜெக்ட் காஸ்பருக்கு நான் அனைத்து உதவிகளையும் செய்வதற்கு தெரிவிக்கிறேன்.
An opportunity to upgrade lives of nearly 500,000 people. As we started realizing that the sole reason for the problem was biodegradable waste, we now shift focus to a bustling neighborhood in the same part of the city, Kotwal Chavdi. This place is synonymous with the wholesale purchasing of fruits and vegetables at wholesale prices. This place is a binding force for people who work relentlessly day and night, satisfying their customers and themselves for their daily wages. Resources, especially fruits and vegetables, are transported in a large scale from production to marketing centers. There is no guarantee that all these vegetables transported will be sold out in a day's time. At the end of the day, there are at least calculated amount of edibles left over. They are neither consumed nor sold. As fresh stock arrives the next day, workers tend to sell them, leaving aside the old stock which later decays, resulting in a foul odor. If this process becomes a recurrence, imagine the quantity of food that would be left over, affecting the economical status of production and marketing sectors. Comparing both the scenarios, Team Casper came up obviously not with an engineering solution, but with a social solution of working on a large-scale vermicompost model. Analyzing the fact that the waste coming here is biodegradable waste, we decided to set up a lot of collection centers at Kotwal Chavdi, where these waste coming from these centers will go to a place where vermicompost model will be worked out and manure can be obtained. And these manure can be given back to the farmers from where we obtain produce. I just want to tell, as Mahatma Gandhi said, be the change you want to see in this world. We still have a long way to go. We are on a mission. Get on board. Project Casper.